Well, hey, Marys.
All right, Mary.
All right, Marys. It is. It's nuance, which is of course.
Come on, family. Shoes off.
Shoes off. Cushions for everybody.
Untuck.
Yeah. This is of course the All Right Mary After Show.
Welcome to Delicious Dish on the air.
Yeah. Got some sweaty balls on the table.
I really like that sweater.
Oh, thanks.
All right. We're
thanks.
good,
It's
Mary.
Versace.
It's Versace.
Yeah.
I got it at Versace.
Yeah. Thanks.
You've got great taste. Sorry. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love to quote that movie. So nuance. Yeah. What's the tea, Mary? Should we talk about Untucked first?
Yeah. Let's,
it's interesting how they were trying. The producers were clearly trying to focus on Cameron because they finally got Cameron on a couch with Asia.
Yeah.
Okay. And Asia's like great to talk to.
Yeah.
She's easy.
She'll ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like about Asia, I like her kind of teasing sense of humor. She'll kind of do that little thing that like, oh, so the Venezuelans. So like she does that with Monet with the sponges. It's very like, it's cute. It's very endearing. Yeah, they were really, I mean,
she wasn't really giving in, although we learned that, she doesn't, that it takes a little while for her to get to a white guy. She's, she likes, some other types of flavors more. And then we also kind of learned that she stands for Shania Twain.
This is pretty much all I know about her.
Right? And that she likes to meditate because she wore a shirt that said heavily meditated.
Yeah, and she used to line dance as a kid.
Right.
I just, with Cameron, it's like, I want to know, because she obviously, like, not that it's all about the body or the, all that stuff.
I want to know, does she like to have fun?
Sure.
Does she like having fun with her friends? Does she like to stay in but also go out?
Right. Like, does she get herself down to earth? Does she have a good sense of humor? Does she like to laugh? Is she no drama? Because she's looking for other people with no drama.
Right.
So if you're drama, stay away.
Yeah, she prefers cats.
Yeah, she prefers cats. Parentheses, but dogs are okay.
Dogs okay.
Yeah. Birds are a no.
Right.
No birds. But I want to understand, like, I definitely have that rule.
No birds.
I have that rule. No birds.
Oh, birds are kind of cute.
They
though.
are, but I
like when
cat.
they like up and down.
Yeah, I worry because what
with
if
a cat?
Yeah, Marco and a bird.
Marco and a bird is not going to work.
That's not going to be some fun, cute like buddy comedy. It's going to be Saw.
It's going to be Sylvester. Saw.
Yeah,
it's going to be Sylvester and Tweety.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be good.
Marco will become the villain. Which is the optics, and it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, he's tired of this. Yeah,
cats are painted terribly.
They are. Marco gets such a bad reputation.
Yeah, no, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
So Cameron, we don't learn much about
what
Cameron.
I want to know about Cameron, though, is I want to know if the external, because there's obviously a lot of work he's put into his body and his appearance, and he fulfills what is, let's just talk about it. He fulfills what is essentially an acceptable, quote unquote, acceptable aesthetic in the gay community.
Oh, sure. People, right.
He's muscly, he's white, he's, of whatever height. I think he seems tall.
He's what, is considered to be a standard, which is really problematic and really annoying.
Right.
He's a pit crew member,
Absolutely. But I fully believe that there's somebody underneath that. There's a brain, there's a heart underneath that. There's a we go back to what Asia was saying at the beginning of the main episode, that all of us did this for a reason. All of us did this to be close to other people, to share our art.
Somebody that has that much discipline and that much kind of attention to their bodies, tattoos.
Yeah.
They clearly have a story. There's a reason they have that armor on.
Exactly.
There's a reason why, quote unquote, vain people are vain, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's hurt underneath. You know, the Ice Princess is not all ice, right? There's something beating underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just want to know kind of,
if she was like a catty bitch, I would not have any time for her.
No, but
that's not what's happening.
I'm not really, not that I'm not impressed by the muscles, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Fine, but that does not make for an interesting person.
Right.
So yeah, I'd love to see more of her. At least we got something this episode. Other than that, I mean, I feel like, there was also that very All Right Mary moment in Untucked of Miss Cracker.
Sure, yeah. Right, where she admitted to them that she doesn't like herself. And I was I was immediately brought to the place where she told us what her dad used to say. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of like, I have to make those connections.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Well, why couldn't you celebrate yourself in that moment and have one moment of celebration for yourself?
But we kind of know, right? Is like she grew up with a message, and I'm just creating a narrative here.
Sure.
I don't
yeah.
know.
We don't know. We don't
but
know.
What I have is like you grow up with a message that like whatever you do, the implicitness of well, great, now you have to keep winning. The implicit message there is that what you did is not good enough.
Sure.
And I think everybody has the not good enough wound. I think that's kind of like
that Alana song, Perfect, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
you know?
but any insecurities and whatnot, you can tie back to like, I mean, if I'm gonna go super woo woo, if any of our Marys are familiar with Louise Hay, who's a big hey, my son is gay. Hey, my Louise is gay.
Colin, what do gay horses eat?
No straw.
Hey.
No.
What do lesbian horses eat?
No complaints. No, sorry.
What do lesbian horses eat?
What do they eat?
Hey.
Anyway, well, thank you for that.
All right, Louise Hay.
Yeah.
Louise Hay.
I say nay to those jokes.
Oh, God.
I'm bristling at that joke. So,
Bareback Betty.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mary. Go ahead.
Anyway, I don't even know what I was saying now.
You're talking about Louise Hay.
So I'm talking about Louise Hay. And so
You're
one of the
going
things that
there.
she talks about, she has this book, You Can Heal Your Life, which is like a classic, and I totally recommend it to people. But one of the things that she talks about in there is like the core thing underneath all of our, our codependence and our neediness and all of our shit, all of our stuff that we're stuck in. At the end of the day, the root thing is always the feeling of not being good enough.
Okay.
And so, I don't know, I think that that's certainly what Cracker is addressing here is the way that manifests in her life.
Yeah.
Because it's just how it manifests in all of our lives.
Yeah. We need that judge to say to Cracker, "You're good enough. Mm-hmm. You're good enough." What was her name? I love her.
Oh, that
from All Stars.
Oh, right. Who did that?
Chi-Chi.
Who said? Oh, right. It was Constance Zimmer.
Oh yes, Constance Zimmer.
You're good enough, Chi-Chi.
Oh my God, if she said that to Cracker.
You're good enough, Cracker. Connie Zimmer.
Connie.
I think it's like. I don't know if she's Jewish, but I'm gonna go there. You're good enough, Cracker.
You're good enough, Cracker.
Yeah. But here's
you're worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're somebody.
I'm someone. I'm somebody. What I wanted to highlight in this is Cracker loves to break the fourth wall. She's done it more than any other queen. She loves to look in the camera.
Sure.
And it's very season 10. It's very like, very much this is a platform. Very much knowing the audience is out there.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I was thinking about this because we talked about last week. To me, Monet is the narrator. Monique is the commentator. But then there's this other thing that Cracker's doing. Yeah. Because what's happening is that Monet and Monique are in the talking heads commenting, but then we have kind of our our Mary on the streets. We have our queen on the streets who's commenting in the moment. She's glancing at us. She's kind of doing that office thing.
Oh, I see. She's
doing that like, oh, you see this? I see this.
That's true.
And it's queens have done it in the past. Tatiana did it once. Dita Ritz did it once. Adore did it once. It's a very untucked move to do.
Right.
But I feel like Cracker's really like nailing it, and so I haven't figured out what this. I don't know if it's the reactor. There's the narrator, the commentator, and the reactor.
Reactor sounds like it's going to explode.
Right. Well, I just mean but they're in the moment,
Sure.
So that's kind of what she was doing in this moment. But that being said, I don't mind that because I think that the message that she was putting across, even if it felt very aware of the platform and very like, this is my moment, I need to like tell this, like put this out there.
Right.
I can't fault it for the message. I can't fault anyone who wants to reinforce the idea of like,
sure.
You need to like, whatever you need to learn to love yourself.
Yeah.
Start now because it's never going to just happen later.
Right, exactly.
It
was great.
Important. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think about like my 20s and I think I always just thought, oh, it'll all just fall together and I don't, and it'll be fine. When I'm in my 30s, it'll be different. And it's not that things aren't different. Things are different. But it's not that things are different. It's I'm different.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And, the other thing that I noticed about myself in terms of like loving myself, why is it that it's so easy for me to love myself when when I weigh less than 150 pounds, and then when I weigh more than 150 pounds, it's harder to love myself.
Sure.
And so there came a point where I was like, no, I have to learn how to love myself actually when I'm at my largest.
Yeah.
Because if my weight's going to fluctuate for the rest of my life, which I hope it doesn't, because that's unhealthy. But if it is going to, I have to learn how to love myself all the time.
Yeah.
And be with myself. So yeah, I spent a good 3 years being fine with the state of my body because I had so many other things to worry about and to love and to cultivate. And it's a skill because it's not something that comes easy.
No.
Yeah, you have to learn to look in the mirror and not roll your eyes.
Well, because most of our training over our decades is to roll our eyes in the mirror.
Well, right. We learn it from porn. We learn it from our peers. We learn it from just watching other beautiful people get attention. And they have 13,000 Instagram followers, and I only have 600. And it's just like, well, that's because they look like this and I look like this. It's like, oh, why do all the pictures that get the most likes? It's because they don't have a shirt on. You know what I mean? And I'm not speaking from personal experience right now. I'm just giving an example.
Sure,
but like that hurts a psyche, or not necessarily hurts, but it affects a psyche.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for us to be having conversations with young people and any people about like the worthlessness of a like.
Yeah.
How it's actually hurting you in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't really use Instagram that much. And I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I think what Instagram is, I don't want to say perpetuating, but is continuing is what magazines have been doing, where like every photo you see is altered in some way. Oh. And so what you're talking about, I mean, there's that whole thing of like thirst trap. That's what all these are. It's thirst trap.
Yeah.
But thirst trap is not just I took off my shirt and I took a picture. It's a production.
Right.
It's the lighting.
Yep.
It's the angles. It's the way you suck in your stomach a certain way. Like you ask Trisha Paytas, she'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Like she.
I follow this guy on Instagram, and you can therapize me all you want right now, because I'm thinking of unfollowing it because I only follow it because I find him attractive.
Yeah.
I follow this guy named Kitten Bear, and he's always showing pictures of his like very, very voluptuous butt. And he's always naked with his boyfriend or with some other hottie, and it's always just this gorgeous picture of his butt. And, it'll have an effect on someone. It's like, oh, my butt doesn't look like that.
Sure. It becomes less about, oh, that's hot, and more about like, oh, that's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I just keep my Instagram feed to dachshunds, corgis, and cats?
Yeah. German shepherds and baby elephants.
Oh my God, and huskies.
And right? Like
baby owls.
Baby owls. Hoo hoo.
Red pandas.
Yeah. I mean, there's raccoons are not to be underestimated.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like your cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like Marco. I mean, it's something I'm grateful to not be so active on Instagram for, is because it's I
gotta tell you, the drag game on Instagram is fantastic.
I'm sure.
You know what I gotta say, and this is just a plug for Stephanie's Child again. I know we've talked about them before, but if you have not followed Stephanie's Child or any of the girls in Stephanie's Child, which is Rosé with an accent or Jan Sport or Laguna Blue, they post such great Instagram stories and posts because it's always them like singing, and they're so talented. They're so talented.
Yeah.
But the Drag Race game on Instagram is something else.
It's the perfect platform for it. It would be the reason to be more active on it. It's just a matter of
I feel like I'm like so late to the game.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm so caught up now in Twitter, and I'm always so caught up in Reddit.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, and you don't need another one.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I resist Facebook. It's everybody's got a thing.
Yeah. But I mean, Instagram, that's a whole, like, the way that photos get altered to kind of not only to hide or create certain things, because there's also Facetune and all those different, basically all the same tools that photo editors have had for magazines now people have on their phones.
Right.
My feeling with that is not only does it create those feelings of insecurity, when I do go on Instagram, really, like, to be completely honest, the only times I end up on Instagram is like when someone has a link in their profile scruff Grindr. I don't have any shame. Yeah, yes. If they have a link in their profile to their Instagram account, you click on that.
I just sipped my tea.
Oh, she's so above it.
I'm just
she's following some guy who posts ass pics every day.
I'm totally kidding.
Right. I know. And so, then I'll look at someone's Instagram, and it's less. What I end up responding to is I'm looking at their pictures, and it's like the story of their life that they're telling.
Oh, sure.
And I start to notice like there was like the extroverts, and every other photo is some gaggle of people, some group shot.
Right.
People love group shots, and then oh God, it's all different people every time. And then I start to see the story or develop the story of like, oh, they have such a fabulous, enriched, connected life of all these people, and they're so active. And even interpreting the filters as that's what their life looks like. It's like, no, that's a filter.
Yeah, it's a filter.
It doesn't look like this.
Yeah.
You're internalizing all of that.
Right, you are.
And
you're comparing yourself, and you can't do that. And I feel like Cracker's point about not loving yourself comes from those messages and comes from this idea that she is comparing herself constantly. And I think that is a queer issue, that we are constantly comparing ourselves to the straight world, to the people that actually are not in the margin, that they are in the front page, and we can't compare ourselves to that. We have to do our own thing. We have to celebrate each other, lift each other up, celebrate ourselves, and find a way to find that love. Otherwise, it will consistently bring us down.
Yeah, well, it's that whole idea, right? Like, it's such a cliche, but that you're comparing your back of house to somebody's front of stage. You know what I mean?
I see.
You're seeing all of the unglamorous parts,
right,
and all you're seeing of other people is just like the production.
Yeah.
But it's always a production, because I guess if you really look at Instagram and you look at some of these photos, you're like, this is not spontaneous. All of this, like when you see like people, the example I always think of is I think of the stage 2 gays with lots of money, who they will take a picture of. It'll be a picture of their drink on the table in their first class chair with the first class ticket tucked under it, and then the description will be like JFK, Arrow, Brazil or whatever the Mykonos would be or whatever, and it's that, and it's so
#blessed,
hashtag gay, hashtag gay guy,
hashtag privilege,
and it's just like, and there's 30 hashtags,
right,
and I just
Insta-gay,
and it tells a certain story, and it's showing you certain things they want you to know.
Yeah, and you know what the problem with all of this is? And this speaks to Ben de la Creme's point, this speaks to Cracker's point in a way, that casters for Broadway shows, casters for movies, casters for Drag Race, they are looking at the number of fucking followers you have.
Of course.
That is something that is unfortunately so fucking real.
Yeah.
So for you to, when you're not working, you have to amass a fan base, which is also problematic, because if the more attractive and white you are, the more followers you're going to have.
Yeah.
So it's this like snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how it's going to stop unless we decide, I'm just not going to do it. You can do that all you want over there. I'm going to do my thing over here.
I think it's kind of like when we talk about, it's not that it gets better, you get better. It doesn't stop, you stop.
Right.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
It's never going to stop.
Yeah.
This is a runaway train.
Sure.
Comments and, you know what I mean? All of that. All the world we're in now, social media, this is not going to go anywhere.
Right.
All you could do is just choose to do your own thing, do it
Right.
differently. And I think when you hear about people who are like, I had to get off Facebook, I can't be a part of it anymore. That's a natural progression.
Right.
But like, there's always going to be something.
Yeah. And the meta-ness of this now is like, here we are with this podcast, and we're on Twitter, which is a social media platform.
Yep.
And, I have to check myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to check Twitter like once a day or once every 2 days, because I just don't want to get sucked into it, because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
There are these beautiful people that we can reach out to, and I will get to them when my life gets to them. You know what I mean? And we do.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I check it all the time.
Oh.
I mean,
well, good, because it's fun.
Last week I checked it quite a bit. Because,
Good.
that's this place I was in. But
All right.
I mean, but I guess also like I obviously I feed off of that validation of hearing from people. There's also, I think, the genuine feeling of like, oh, this is so nice that like people are connecting with this, or they're like, just even the air guitar tweets. It was just like, there's something, sure, you could say,
you see me.
Yeah, exactly. It's not this egotistical thing of these tweets about me. It's like, I can't believe you like remembered this thing about me and then tweeted it, that feels so connected.
And you know what the other thing, Colin, is that we're not like tweeting out shirtless pictures of ourselves.
No.
God forbid.
I mean, I think some people would be into it.
I wouldn't be.
Well,
meaning I wouldn't be because I would be like, this is not why we're doing this.
No, I know, but I mean, like, if so, I have to believe that anyway, I'm just saying, I don't think we're disgusting.
No, okay, and I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that the point of our podcast is actually to promote other ideas, right?
Yeah.
And so if we started just like posting pictures of ourselves, like having drinks, I would just be like, why are we doing this?
Right, but then there's that balance, right, of like, you know, we've been doing this for like almost 2 years now, and people have been listening, and there's they've had our voices in their ears for so long. It gets to the point where they're like, oh, well, you're like people to me. I want to see what you look like.
Oh, well, our pictures are on the web.
Yeah, but I think that like what I'm trying to say is that if we ended up posting more pictures of ourselves, not necessarily shirtless, but if there was just more pictures of ourselves, I think in the context of All Right, Mary, like it's just serving to kind of like create this connection with people.
Yeah, and you know what? And something that I avoid is I wouldn't want to post a picture of myself because I'd be worried that it would get 6 likes, you know? And I hate that that's a reality, but I'm being totally honest here and vulnerable right now, Mary.
Sure.
So read me for filth, you know? I mean, I'm human, but like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. That would make me feel like shit, you know?
Sure. I mean, I
know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Like you just, I hear what you're saying. I'm not negating it. I mean, but as someone who their pictures of mine have gone up on Twitter and it's been fine and no one's been mean. It's fine. Right. It's fine.
Breathe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mary, what else we got? That was a great moment in Untucked.
Sure.
And we also had the beautiful moment between Monet and I think it was Eureka, where she's like, I don't want to let down my family.
Yeah. And I thought that it was an interesting idea of like, you know, an outfit that doesn't tell us anything about what kind of entertainer you are. Right.
Go
show us what kind of entertainer you are.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's like, sure, it would be better to not be in the bottom, but if you're going to be here, like, make it great.
Right.
Like, capitalize on the opportunity.
Yeah, totally.
And so, I mean, I guess the only other note I had was just like, we've been seeing a lot of Rizzo, and I'm like, if we just saw as much of Sarge.
Oh, yeah, you love Sarge. Well, he's behind the camera.
Yeah, it'd be very conflicting for me anyway. Sarge, Monet. Yeah, it would just be like,
Sarge, Monet.
Yeah. By the way, also, I want to just say this. I think that bald queens have an advantage in this competition.
Oh.
Bob, Sasha, Trixie, all bald.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, Monet, come on. Polish that cube and get that crown.
Yeah. No, I get it, Mary.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's not a cube, it's a dome. In any event,
it's fine.
It's all right.
So that's Untucked. What else is going on?
So okay, so I'm gonna address it and then we're gonna move on. But people have asked. I'm gonna address the Robbie Turner thing.
Oh, okay, Robbie Turner.
The Robbie Turner thing.
I loved her May Morbido look.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was so good.
Well, that's not what this is about.
Oh well, I'm just saying I loved it.
Sure, start positive. So obviously everybody knows the Robbie Turner story, the Uber driver story, all that thing. We don't have any information. I have as much as Reddit has. I think everybody's kind of at this place of like, okay, it seems people have arrived at a consensus based on a number of things that we have not verified. That this is not true. That the Uber driver didn't die. There's all these different things. I don't want to comment on any of that. Here's what I want to say about it.
Okay, Mary.
I don't want to get into the muck.
All right, Mary.
I just don't. There's 2 options, right? There's probably multiple, but let's look at 2. There's 2. One, it's true. That's terrible. Oh, awful. All my sympathies. The other, it's not true. Oh, that's terrible that you'd make that up. All my sympathies. Why would you do that?
Sure. Right.
That's where I land.
Right.
I don't know this person.
You know where I land? I don't know this person. A. B. I have not called the police station.
No.
Somebody else did. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's that. I don't know that story either. All I know is that there was a tweet that went out. Okay, a series of tweets that went out, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds terrible. And then the next thing I know is that there's these people being like, it's not true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's not true. Where do we go now? Do we just attack her?
I mean,
it kind of reminds me of the suicide story with the kid that reached out to I don't want to misname the queen, reached out to a queen and said, I'm going to commit suicide. And then she's like, oh, I'll help you. And then said, hey, can you?
Oh, Venus Delight.
Venus Delight.
Yes. No, I think with this one, it's like, I think whether or not it's true,
It's true.
It's true. Like whether or not, like either Robbie Turner's just gone through a terrible car accident or Robbie Turner's making up a story for some reason that I don't think it's just to promote her show because she just like stepped down from it. So like the show that she hosts and at her like home bar. So it's something else. And I think that like I'd rather just hear from her.
Yeah.
I'd rather just wait and hear from her. Eventually we will. Everyone was kind of reading her for filth this week, like everywhere. Every queen.
Sure, there's a lot of memes now. There's a lot of jokes.
Yeah. And it just gets to the point of like, okay, but like
it's like pop news. It's like it's like reading in a tabloid that something happened and then you joke about it on late night TV.
Yeah.
I get all that. I get the temptation to make light of something that you're very distant from.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of perspective, and then the other perspective is one where you're like, oh, I'm going to feel for this person and I feel for what they're going through. And, there are two types of people in this world, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I don't. And I'm not going to pass judgment on something that I don't know about.
Yeah. And I don't even think it matters.
People are going to write into us and be like, this is the Gay Times article. They called in, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't call in. Yeah. And I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't care about it that much. I mean, it's a weird story. That's my thought on it. There you go.
And anyway, that's good. I'm good.
That's it. So
Robbie I'm
going to turn to the page on that story. So I want to say a very special thank you to Sister Mary TJ, who basically was like, oh yeah, I'm going to produce an episode of Nuance for you. Here's all. Like, he didn't say that, but that's what he basically did.
It was so good.
So many, and I'm going to parcel them out. It was just like so many great links to different things. The one that I'm super excited about was like this 1970s article that was written on the art of gay insulting.
I read it.
And I haven't read it yet.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. It's good. There's actually some great phrases.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that, especially just like the timing of when it was written. It was just
gay insulting.
Yeah, so that
sparring.
Yeah, so that thank you for that. I think one of the things though that TJ sent us, a few weeks ago, we talked about Monet's Street Beats video.
Right.
Or videos, there's two of them. Which again, if you have not watched, they deserve as much attention.
They deserve, Emmy awards for internet videos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's her James Beard award? I know it's just for food videos, but whatever. She's a snack, as the kids would say. So anyway, it's food enough for me. So
food for thought.
Food
Sorry,
for
go ahead,
THOT.
Mary.
Yeah. So there was an article in the Tulsa World, which I think is like their local city newspaper. From like October of 2016, talking about the woman that Monet meets in the first Street Beats video in Times Square.
Okay.
And like, talking about makeup and like they just have this great time together. And the article came out in October of 2016. So it was very much framed of basically looking at like, we're in a potentially very divisive time. Obviously, the election had not shown its results yet, but we were all kind of in a hot spot October of 2016.
Yep.
And so the real message of the article was like
November,
because November's obviously, but October was kind of the boiling point. Yeah. And so the article was really kind of about like, we're different, but we're not that different, and we can connect like this, and we can have these human connections, and they were talking about just like the immense positive response that people had to this, and that they had to seeing human connection and seeing kindness and seeing people who did not look alike find out how they were, existing in the same world and in very similar ways.
Yeah.
And it was just it was really a nice, meaningful other side of what we saw. And this, we're kind of on Monet's side of the conversation. Mm-hmm. We're the New Yorker, we're the queer, we're that. And so it was really nice to see it from her perspective.
So, it's interesting because I think, yes, all of that's beautiful and all that's true. I think when it comes to something like racism, though, that will be when fear, right? Because if you boil it down, it's hate and fear. When that is blinding somebody from a dialogue, I'm not going to engage with it because it's not. And I know that, and I really struggle with that, Colin, because I don't know if I don't know if I should be talking to racists. You know what I mean? And allowing them to spew their ideas and hate at me and try to just like contend with them.
I don't think this woman's a racist.
I'm not calling her racist.
Yeah.
No. But what you did say is like how beautiful it is to see two different people talking. And when I think about a different person from me talking to me, I'm thinking about a Trump supporter that is also a racist, because some Trump supporters aren't racist.
Yeah.
Some are. And so for me, it's like non-racists and racists. And I have trouble talking to somebody who is a racist. It's very hard for me to connect with them because I just don't understand. I just don't see that logic, and it hurts me.
Yeah.
And it only hurts me because I can't even imagine how much it would hurt somebody else that's experiencing it.
I hear you. I think that's different than this, though. I feel like that's like, sure, I'm with you. Like
one of the phrases you said was like how important it is we connect with people that think differently than us.
Well, I think it was just the fact that she's this like Midwestern housewife who approached a drag queen. She approached him. And she was like waiting for her friends or something, and she was like, "I'm just gonna go like find someone to talk to." And so she saw Monet sitting there doing his makeup.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh,
I know the whole story." And I am hearing what you're saying. I'm trying to bring the conversation somewhere else because I think that that's all beautiful and great, and I get all that. And
I think what it was like we have so many.
It's not that easy, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we have so many examples of it not being easy. We have so many examples of it not working. We have so many examples of people fighting.
Right.
And it was really, I think, about like how much people needed this.
Oh, I see.
They need to see something like this, be like, oh, this is also possible.
Yeah, that reminds me of Sarah Silverman's show. Did you see any? I think it's Welcome to America.
No, I don't think I saw that.
So it's on Hulu, and she, at the end of each episode, she talks to people that like goes to their house, that thinks differently than them.
Yeah. Oh, I think I've heard of that.
And
you
know, they end up laughing. There's something that happens, and it's really a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything premeditated with this. I think it just became this really like example of like it could just be this,
right?
You know. Anyway,
we could just allow people to live the way that they want to live, and
and that like I think she was like, wow, he and I had so much in common. We were so similar, and I think in the larger vein of wanting to feel connected, wanting to feel heard, wanting to feel like you belong somewhere, I think those little things reinforce that, you know? So speaking of New York queens, I want to talk about Miss Cracker. So
Review with a Jew.
Yeah, well, you know, we've had Marys who are like, I need you to get on board with Cracker. Like, what, you know, and I was like, I get it. She's amazing. I what do I need to see that I'm not seeing? So I started watching the Review with a Jew series.
Me too.
And what I took away from that, and I don't think it's exactly the same, but what I was feeling was, oh, this is like in season 7. The real Katya was the Rugrats.
Oh,
and that really, if you didn't watch the Rugrats, I don't think you fully got. I mean, she was great on her season, but it was the Rugrats videos that sealed the deal.
Sure.
And we saw so much more of Katya that she was able to access when she wasn't in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And I think that's happening with Cracker.
Well, the thing with Review with a Jew for me that I got to see was even though she's in drag, I still got to connect with, I think, the sweet boy that he is. And I wish I knew his name, but I don't yet.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I will learn it.
Yeah.
But I just kind of was like, oh, you are a sweet little goose.
Yeah, you're a sweet little goose. You're funny.
It's well edited.
Yeah. It's
self-referential. It's in a way like Lee Dawson light.
Sure,
with
just
a narrator.
in terms of the editing. Yeah.
It's not as like manic as that. Who's that really crazy guy that World of Wonder sponsors?
Oh, John Polly.
Yes, it's not as manic as John Polly, which is also great too. But like, you know, you have to be in a mood for it.
Sometimes I can't watch them because I'm like, John.
It's so fast.
Yeah,
and very funny.
I have to slow down like the YouTube speed to like, you know, like a 25th slower.
Right.
Yeah, so I see it. I see the other parts of Cracker that I wasn't seeing on the show. And, you know, listen, we're only 5 episodes in. You know, it takes time.
Only 5 in, yeah, that's
but
true.
At least going into these further episodes, I have more of a sense of like, oh, okay, here's what I'm looking for.
What do you think about her getting a Pandora edit? This like Susan Lucci.
I mean, I think it's totally possible. I mean, Cracker's one of those queens where, like, no matter how she does this season, she's going to do well. She's going to do well.
She has so many followers.
Yeah.
Not as much as Aquaria, but she has a big following.
And she has the kind of talents where, like, she can have a one-woman show. She can do all these different things.
Right.
It's like, I just think, as someone on this platform, you're going to be fine no matter what.
Yeah.
So, you know, even if she gets a Pandora edit, she'll still do really well.
Yeah. Pandora did really well.
She did.
Yeah.
Still. So
not on All Stars, though.
Well, guess what, Mimi? So I'm seeing the appeal of Cracker. So thank you to the Marys who kind of pushed that a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing, I guess really the last thing I wanted to say, I've talked about in the past, Katya's podcast. Whimsically Volatile.
I've been listening to this too. First of all, Craig's voice.
Yeah.
Can we get him on the pod?
I mean, we could talk about it, sure. How about we get both of them?
Oh, my. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But Craig's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to just highlight one of the guests that they had on was Devin Green, who is a light in a world of darkness for me. It was so great to hear her interacting with Brian and Craig and all of that. The latest episode, I haven't watched Contemplation Part 2, but Contemplation Part 1 was speaking my language.
Yep. Part 2 is even more. It's almost like not a condensed, but like what he covers in Part 2.
The first few episodes are very, very, very up and down. And it's hard to listen to because there's wisdom in there and you're listening for it. And then it's like this other thing. And it's just like, okay. And Craig is great and goes along with everything.
Yeah.
So I am enjoying the podcast, but I have to be kind of in a mood for those types of episodes.
Yeah.
These latest episodes, even with Devin Green, which does get kind of like crazy, there is a lot more reflection about the world and about the state. And I've started to think that this podcast is about the therapeutic-gating.
Sure. Therapize. I know. Sure. Well, I don't know where you're going with this, so I can't really.
Just helping Brian go through talking things out.
Sure.
And figuring him out.
There is a therapeutic element to this.
Yeah. The spotlight is always on Katya.
Because I agree. The Devin Green episode was a real turning point. I felt like I could see it was like because he just goes, in so many different directions, and it's just how his brain works, and she can keep up with that.
Yeah.
And can match it and top it.
Yeah.
But in a way that she never loses control.
Right.
And I think her ability to do that, it was like she could connect with him no matter whatever height or depth he went to, and that leveled him out in the conversation.
Yeah.
And there's a turning point in that conversation where he goes from like manically laughing at everything she says and doing the bits to she really kind of helps guide them to like such an emotionally honest conversation. They say so much that it's worth listening to twice. There's just so much happening in that conversation.
Yeah, I listened to it twice.
Yeah.
I listened to it once when I was in Bed Bath & Beyond, which was fabulous.
Yeah. I think, for, especially for the Marys who are maybe having the same feeling that, I was having before and that you're having. Of like, ooh, some of these episodes are a little like, a little bit of a lot. They're a little bit extra. The Devin Green one is great. The Contemplation
is great.
Are excellent. I've just about almost finished the Bianca one.
That's the newest one.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm going out for a walk later, so I'll be listening.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit back to some of the ups and downs, but Bianca is also kind of a stabilizing energy.
Okay.
I think what Katya is really good with. She's great with someone like Devin Green who can go to those heights with her.
Yeah.
But also someone who can be this like. It can be the constant.
Yeah.
And
it was so great to see. I was like, I want her in my life.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm definitely going to keep listening, just to kind of see how this develops. And
I think there's so much wisdom. I think Brian and Craig, I think they're really, really smart. Really smart cookies. And I'm kind of like, well, why not? If I can keep up with it while I'm typing at my computer, I will.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I have like a slew of other podcasts to get through. So when I get to it, I do. And I have to kind of be in a space to go to Katya and Craig because you do have to kind of pay attention.
Yeah.
But I will. It's one of those good ones.
Yeah, it's worth sticking with it just for those episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course the Lady Bunny one. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't come to one solid conclusion on Katya's podcast. I think what I come to is like she is a complicated person. No matter what, highs and lows and somewhat manic behavior or energy doesn't always have to be like signs of mental, unwellness. Some people just work like that. Some people just function like that. I feel like living in New York, I know so many people who like, they only operate at an 8 and up.
Right.
Because it's just like the power source they're plugged into. And then you compare that to people I met in California.
Yeah.
Who were more to 4 to a 6, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So there's nuances, I guess,
Sure.
is what I'm trying to
Sure.
say. And I'm just hearing them a little bit more with Katya.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's different.
yeah.
I want to just bring something to nuance. I am having a special personal goal to make it a point to sacrifice some of my time to go out and watch local drag. I do this often, but now I'm making it a point to go see drag queens that I have not seen before, as opposed to the ones that I just love, like Sutton Seymour.
Yeah.
So I mean, Sutton Seymour has the best show in New York City. It's
Really?
just so good. So last week I went to go see a queen called Pissy Miles.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know her?
I know the name. Yeah.
It's a great name.
She's a Brooklyn queen, right?
Maybe I saw her at Pieces.
Oh, I think I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of somebody who does stuff with Thorgy at Metropolitan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it might be Pissy Miles, but Pissy Miles, it was great. It was she had games, and I always find it so fascinating for a performer to just have the ability to come up with things on the spot. So what she did was she had like a lip sync off. Okay, it's a fun little game with people in the audience,
right?
And then she had 2 of them sashay away, and so she used the format of Drag Race to be like, of these puns, to be like, your lip sync was home from blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And now we're going to send you. Clearly, I'm not that creative, but she was able to do it just in the moment with these contestants. There was like a runway off, and she was able to do the same thing. And then she lip synced to this great Bette Midler track. I wish I could remember what it was. I'll post it when I remember it. But it was so funny. Bette Midler tells this joke. I'll send it to you.
It's the rose, right? It's the rose.
No.
Okay. Well,
no.
I wish.
Oh God. Yeah. So Pissy Miles told a joke that Bette Midler told at her concert when she was here. This joke about a parrot. If anybody knows the parrot joke, you know what I'm talking about. The fuck you parrot. It's so funny. Anyway. Big shout out to Pissy Miles. And so, yeah, so if I'm holding myself accountable, I will be seeing shows kind of locally as best I can, and I'll try to feature them for 2 to 5 minutes on our Nuance episodes.
I'll be looking at my watch and counting.
You don't mind, Mary?
Yeah, of course. No,
I think it's really important.
Yeah.
And I think that we can all do this, and people can certainly write to us and tell us about local drag scenes that they know about.
Yeah.
I have aspirations this summer to travel to go to see local drag. And whenever I'm in a city, to go see local drag, maybe connect with a Mary and do it. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about Drag Race queens. There's some really talented people out there.
Yeah. I mean, you should go maybe Atlanta or see those Texas queens. Dallas.
Yeah.
Like somewhere where it's like, where is there, I mean, I guess pretty much everywhere is there drag, but there's certain places where it's like, there's
drag.
Yeah, like in Ohio, in like Columbus,
right.
There's a queen, Nina West, I think, and she's like this big name there.
Cool.
Kind of like the queen of that area. I don't think she's ever going to be on Drag Race. I feel like she's like bigger than it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some unlikely places.
Right.
I mean, Seattle might be fun to see.
Sure. I mean, I have to start with New York, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much happening in Brooklyn that I haven't even Untitled Queen. Do you know about Untitled Queen?
I know the name. No pun intended.
There's just so much untappedness.
Yeah.
So anyway, Marys, that's kind of what I'm bringing tonight.
Well, nice work.
Thanks, Mary. If you can get it.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Somebody's dad. Did you get a haircut? Did you get all of them cut? He works on them in the car while you're at the movies. The Cineplex Odeon. How long has that never been kissed? I'll just be out here.
Oh, God.
Working on jokes. Anyway, I think that's all I've got for Nuance.
All right, Mary.
Yeah. Mary's, I mean, you know the drill. Usually you do this part. Do you want to talk
I
about,
will. I will do the drill.
Do you want the first part of the drill? And
I
I'll
will.
take the second part of the drill? You break
So the drill is, if you have any thoughts, Mary, on nuance, on the main episode, on local drag, on other things, maybe about Untucked. I think we're just avoiding the Robbie Turner thing right now. So if you have any thoughts on that, we might not engage because we just don't know anything.
Yeah.
But feel free to send it our way if you feel the need to. But yeah, we are at All Right Mary on Twitter and allrightmarypodcast@gmail.com, or find us on the web at www.allrightmary.com.
And obviously, if you decide that you want to listen to Nuance, you might be keen on Patreon, which of course gives you even more All Right Mary content, which you might know because you probably just listened to the main episode. But it bears repeating. It just takes going to patreon.com/allrightmary. You can get access to a bonus episode every week.
Yeah.
You may realize that last week was She-Devil because we mentioned that in the main episode. And next up is Mannequin. Mannequin. So, yeah, and the iTunes drill. So 5 stars, positive review.
Love it.
Yeah, that's it.
Always loved ya.
Yeah, always loved ya. And I think on that note, Mares, that's all I got for you.
All right, Mary. Well, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.